Coming up next on the Backroads of Montana, neither rain nor snow will keep us from following a rural mail carrier in Roundup. We'll visit with a veteran lookout who stands guard over one of Montana's national forests. In Glasgow, we'll watch a man create unique sculptures from everyday materials. Near Lewistown, we'll view American Indian art that has withstood the test of time. And we'll relax in Victor as we let our minds wander in a labyrinth. For the next 30 minutes, Backroads delivers the goods.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, Travel Montana, and the University of Montana, where the discovery continues.
Well, it's beautiful with spacious skies, has amber waves of green, and has purple mountains majestic that rise up out of the plains. And all across America, from sea to shining sea, where the mountains and the prairies meet, is a place I need to be. Home is where Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home.
Greetings from Helena and the Montana State Capitol building. Hello, I'm William Marcus. Welcome to the Backroads of Montana, a program that finds the remote places and follows the interesting people who live and work in the Treasure State. Since 1902, this elegant sandstone and granite structure has been Montana's most influential building. For the past 4.5 years, it's been getting a facelift. Throughout our program, we'll tour the $25 million restoration. In the 1960s, an ill-conceived effort to modernize the Capitol removed or destroyed many of its historic features. Among them was the original post office. This area was one of the first returned to its pre-1960s condition. Many of Montana's first legislators got their mail from these old boxes. Residents who live miles outside the community of Roundup don't have to go far to get their mail. Rural carrier Bob Beadle covers the distance for them, and he covers a lot of it.
You have to be dedicated. You have to have fortitude. You have to want to do it. Get this mail pulled and we'll hit the road.
Bob Beadle starts his day at 6 a.m., sorting the mail, loading the mail. Around 8 o'clock, he's out the door, delivering the mail.
Roundup is an old mining town. Where we're going here first is called Camp 3.
Bob's family has driven this route for more than 30 years. His mother delivered mail for 19 years. His sister was the relief driver. Bob carries on the tradition.
It seems like every day I see something different out there. It is quite nice. I enjoy the winters. I enjoy the springs, the summers. You know, it's all seems to be new each day to me. I mean, that may sound trite or weird, but it's not. It's the truth. I do enjoy the mail route.
Bob enjoys his job because he's good at it. Bob delivers left-handed. Bob delivers right-handed. Bob delivers to ranchers, florists, and even a baker.
Where we're delivering now is Klein, Montana.
Bob delivers to mailboxes close together. Bob delivers to mailboxes far apart. But it's not the names or numbers that keep him rolling.
I've made a lot of friends on the mail route. People that I've never known, I would never have known. You know, that is one of the perks of delivering mail, is the friendships that develop.
Friends like Jody Moore. She runs a local business.
Those 2 trees I bought from you are doing real good. Yeah.
Everyone at her place is happy to see Bob.
Oh, lots of good to say. I hate Sundays because I don't get any mail. I miss him on Sundays.
North of Roundup, there's the Whearty place. Bob delivers to Bruce, who's a school teacher. He taught Bob's son.
Well, as a mailman, you only have 2 points. Either he's good or he's bad, you know. He's good, there's no problem. But as a friend, it does more than that, because he stops by and once in a while stops and chats and is a connection, you might say.
Bob delivers to new friends and old friends, like Bill. He doesn't even have a mailbox. He receives his mail personally.
But Roundup used to have didn't Roundup used to have 20 or 30,000 people in it? Yeah. Okay, see you, Bill. Have a good one. The day Bill ain't there, I'll be a sad man.
So many stops, so many friends. Bob makes nearly 300 stops on his route. He actually drives 2 routes. He drives a short route 3 days a week and a long route 3 days a week. The long route covers about 128 miles, mostly on gravel roads. It's believed to be the longest postal route in the Northwest. Bob's mileage totals are staggering. He averages almost 1,000 miles a week, more than 50,000 miles a year, or the equivalent of driving around the Earth twice. He goes through 3 sets of tires each year. He's worn out 5 new vehicles in 13 years. The vehicles all bear the scars of delivering the mail: cracked windshield, dinged door, crushed mirror. It's no wonder Bob is Roundup's official vehicle torture tester.
They'll consult me too. And if I like it, they'll go buy one. If I have anything bad to say about it, they won't buy it.
If the vehicle is tough, Bob is even tougher. He hasn't missed a day's work in 13 years. He doesn't even have a backup driver. He tried to train a few. The latest attempt lasted only 3 days.
And at the end of the 3rd day, he came in, handed me the application back, and it just beat him up. He said, "I'm a simple man, and I like a simple job, and this isn't it."
Not even the weather bothers Bob. We followed him on a beautiful summer day, but his friends recommended another time of year.
You have to understand you've caught his job on a perfect day. I mean, there's wildflowers blooming and sunlight and everything. You ought to catch him sometime about March after heavy rains and thaws and freezes and then thaws again, where his whole car is spattered with mud. That's when you really ought to see what his job's like.
Eventually, Bob will make it to his next stop and another potential friend.
I always do. I might make a new friend tomorrow.
According to the U.S. Postal Service, Montana mail carriers are consistently ranked among the best in the nation for customer satisfaction. Keeping an eye on the Capitol reconstruction project is the Goddess of Liberty, the bronze statue that stands on the copper dome. She was built back east and arrived before the building was completed in 1902. The construction papers were lost and no one knows why she was commissioned, but the builders needed a statue for the dome and they decided to use her. She's graced state business for nearly 100 years. Keeping an eye on our natural resources, our personal property, and sometimes our lives is the job of this next rugged individual. She's the eye in the sky for the 9 Mile Ranger District.
Afternoon, 9 Mile.
Like many fire management officers, Dave Ramirez will never forget the summer of 2000. For weeks, his district battled 60 wildfires that scorched more than 25,000 acres. Dave is quick to add that one strategically placed firefighter kept those numbers from being higher.
Historically, we catch 98% of our initial attacks, and that success is really a reflection of her abilities on the lookout. She's got eyes like a hawk.
Those eyes belong to Virginia Vincent. For the past 30 summers, a cramped 15 by 15 foot lookout on Stark Mountain has been her home.
Missoula Dispatch, Stark Lookout. Have another smoke report.
Last night, a thunderstorm ignited 17 small fires in Virginia's front yard. Since dawn, she's been mapping their location, size, and spread rate, and reporting her information to Fire Command. Miles below, Jeanette Wilson just arrived at a fire near Beecher Creek, but it's moving too fast for her crew of 3. Deep in the forest, Jeanette's radio can only reach Stark Mountain. So Virginia relays Jeanette's messages to headquarters and keeps a watchful eye on the firefighters and what's behind them.
That if you find your fire is unsafe, that you should retreat to your safety areas. I'll let you know if anything is creeping up on you.
Okay, thanks, Virginia. Thanks for the heads up.
Even at 7,300 feet, Virginia is not completely out of harm's way. Lookouts have been overrun by flames, and the 20-foot tower is a tempting target for the same lightning that started last night's fires.
When it gets within 2 or 3 miles, I disconnect the radio and the telephones and kind of hold my ears.
Weapons in Virginia's firefighting arsenal include her sling psychrometer, which measures relative humidity, her anemometer for gauging wind speed in miles per hour,
24 from the southwest. Nothing we wanted today.
and one item common to all lookouts that's essential for fire detection.
The most important thing is the tool of the trade, which is the so-called firefinder or alidade.
These universal devices help locate the fire. A lookout sights the initial smoke through these crosshairs. Vertical angles calculate the distance along that line. Or if other towers sight the same smoke, intersecting lines or triangulation pinpoints the fire. When she's not scrunched up over the firefinder, Virginia is busy hauling water to wash windows or hauling water to prepare her meals.
I've learned to use powdered milk, but I put a little vanilla in each cupful. Improves things greatly.
After dinner, Virginia hauls more water for the dishes. Even then, the business of fire is ongoing.
Oh, look, there's smoke. Up, maybe French Creek.
Virginia admits that it takes a special individual to be a lookout. Patient through long periods of wet inactivity, motivated during times of high fire danger, and a person not prone to loneliness. Virginia spends time with other lookouts or with her personal diary, which she's kept for all 30 seasons. And yes, she does talk to herself.
If a second person talks to you, that's fine too. But if the third one breaks in, you better watch out.
But Stark Mountain is Virginia's oldest friend, and the reason why she keeps returning. During her evening walk, her sharp eyes are just as quick to spot purple penstemon or a red-shafted flicker as a lightning strike. 30 summers have not diminished her enthusiasm for this natural place.
Yeah, I watch the eagles and the hawks. Yeah, this is bear grass. It's really a lily, Xerophyllum tenax. These blue things are called harebell. They're some of the last to bloom up here. I've just noticed a flicker nest in a dead tree over the edge here. Yeah, this is fireweed or great willow herb, kind of appropriate today.
This is her mountain, the native plants and the birds and the sky and the stars, and even the wildfire and its role in the nature of things.
Sometimes this is the most pleasant time of day. Oh, I sit here and I look out over the whole world. And as the sun sets, I'll notice birds sitting at the very top of the tree, as if they were enjoying the last rays of the sun. Being a lookout has an aura all of its own. Some of it is the isolation, some of it is being on your own, but for the most part, a lookout is a lookout.
It's possible to experience what an evening is like in a Forest Service lookout. The Lolo National Forest has 4 lookout cabins available for overnight rental in the summer months. Contact the Lolo National Forest Visitor Services for scheduling. And remember, you'll have to pack in your own water. Lost in the 1960s modernization of the Capitol building were many elegant features of the barrel vault skylight. When original panels were found in Nevada City, builders decided to reproduce the rest and restore the magnificent stained glass canopy. There are 90 panels in all, held in place by a large metal superstructure. In Glasgow, we met a man who makes metal works of another kind. He credits patience and determination for getting the work done, and the power of prayer for his inspiration.
I believe in prayer, and I believe it works and everything.
Buck Samuelson of Glasgow was in his 60s and looking for something to do when he retired. That's when his prayers were answered.
But one night I was laying in bed and I had a little rubber sculpture, or a little rubber eagle hanging off of a candlestick holder, and I looked up and I could visualize what it looked like in shiny steel, about 14 feet across.
600 hours later, the eagle spreads its wings, and Samuelson's art career begins. Now a dozen animals live on the hills northwest of Glasgow. A bear is ready to take a bite. A beaver hides behind a weed. Follow the footprints up to a dinosaur. There's even an army ant, complete with rifle and saber.
I look at it this way: when you're building stuff like that, you got to put a little humor with it, just for your own satisfaction more so than anybody else.
He cuts pieces off 16-gauge steel sheets. Then he bends, pounds, and grinds the pieces into shape.
I shape them, everything cold, because when I start using a torch or something to heat it up, it never bends where you want it. If I don't want to bend, I cut it in a smaller piece. I'm going to weld it together anyway. What's the difference? They don't have to be just perfect, because if the head is cocked to one side or something, well, who knows you didn't do it purposely or not. After all, it takes a poor man that can't cover his mistakes. So I'm getting to be real good at covering mistakes.
He finishes with body filler, more grinding to make sure there are no sharp edges, and paint. Because he sells scrap materials to pay for his creations, Samuelson says if he doesn't sell a sculpture, it's not a problem.
No, I've never sold one. And I'd sell it if I had a chance, you know, and if I get enough money. I mean, most people don't want to pay anything because they feel like, well, man, you ain't got nothing into them. I don't know how much time I've got in this big dinosaur behind me, but I estimate the bigger part of 4.5 months.
The sculptures have been part of the landscape near Glasgow since 1993 and have become quite the conversation pieces for the community.
I don't care too much about whether it benefits the community or not. All my fans is 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. I'd rather, I'll do anything for a kid. I don't care what it is.
Kids will be excited to hear that Samuelson hopes to continue building and creating as long as he's able. And he'll keep praying, too.
It says in the Bible to pray constantly. No, not too many of us stop to listen.
Buck says that he's always available for advice and pointers for people who want to make their own metal animals. For inspiration, you can wander among his creations. They're just west of Glasgow, along Highway 2. As you wander about the capital on the self-guided tour, you may notice that many of the changes are readily apparent, like the new entry doors, restored etchings, the new oak and mahogany paneling, and the return of 2 600-pound chandeliers. What you won't see are the upgraded telecommunications and data systems installed to help state government run more efficiently. Those changes are here, but added in a subtle way that's compatible with the historic nature of the building. Another self-guided tour is the subject of our next Backroads story. Near Victor, the red Sun Labyrinth lets you wander to your mind's content.
Well, it's very calming. It's very peaceful and soulful, I think. It's and it's a nice physical exercise also. I mean, you really do feel like there's a bit of distance that you cover by the time you would complete the whole thing.
I kind of get down inside myself and think about some things that I may not normally think about.
A labyrinth is an ancient pattern. It's unicursal, means there's one way in and one way out. And it's not trickery, it's not a maze. It's a right-brained activity. It's meant to calm and soothe you. It's a metaphor for the journey of life. Well, the solstice is a very important time for the ancient people because that's when they were keeping track of when to plant, and so they always had celebrations on the solstice, the longest day of the year. I decided that the first labyrinth I walked would be the one that I built.
2 years ago I got a dozer up here and we cleared off the topsoil and made the berm around the perimeter.
And it was last fall that we started hauling the rock. We put the grounds cloth down and started hauling the rocks, about 25 tons of rock from the neighbor's field. We didn't do it in one day, no. We did it on the weekends because we both work. Basically the labyrinth was constructed over, a couple years of weekends.
Couple years, yeah.
This one is 108 feet in diameter, which is the largest one that I know of. This is a Chartres style. It's an 11-circuit labyrinth based on a pattern in the Chartres Cathedral that's about 800 years old. What's interesting about the pattern is that when you start, you're facing right to the goal and you think, well, I'll just go straight in there. Well, you'll go in and you circle around the center and then you'll find yourself on the very farthest circuit from the center. And then you'll get close to the center again and then you'll be out. And it's like life. You think you're going to get to your goal and then something deters you and you're out far away. But if you keep going, one step at a time, you'll reach the center. And that's what we liked about the labyrinth. The center in this pattern is called a rosette, and it has 6 petals. And the rose was a symbol of the Virgin Mary. And each petal stands for a stage of creation.
It's sort of sudden that you realize that you're really coming to the center. And then to realize that the way out is just complete reversal and rewalking your steps. And
it takes about 15 minutes of average walk to walk in, 15 minutes out again. And some people spend quite a bit of time in the center, meditating in the center. Some people walk faster, some people run, some people stroll leisurely.
Overall, it seems to me they have a spiritual quality that is good for me.
And you're welcome to stay in there or do it as many times as you want.
The more often you do, it's like meditation. The more often you do it, the more beneficial it is.
If you'd like to schedule your own personal journey through the Red Sun Labyrinth, contact Patty or Helmut Meyer in Victor, or visit their website at redsunlabyrinth.com. The Capitol building is renowned for its large collection of Western art, works by Charlie Russell, Pedretti and Sons, and The Surrender of Chief Joseph by Edgar Paxson. During the restoration, the Montana Historical Society hired an art conservator to meticulously clean and protect these priceless treasures. If paint was missing, she applied a synthetic paint that can be removed without harming the original artwork. Art that has withstood the test of time can be seen outside Forest Grove near Lewistown. Here, Macy Lundeen is busy conserving a part of Montana's American Indian heritage.
It's everything to me. I mean, it's not only is it home, but it's been here with us for a long time.
It would be a very hard thing to find the right words to explain what it really means to me, to explain it right to. It's pretty and it's ancient history and it's nice, but what are the right words to use?
Just outside Lewistown, tucked away in this little canyon, are hidden historic treasures. 2 generations ago, Macy Lundeen's family bought this land. 1 generation ago, they built a home here. Now every generation is working to preserve a special place less than a mile from their home.
I knew it was here, but I didn't realize the importance, the value of it, the historical value.
The vivid pictographs provide the proof. Their bold color leaps off the canyon walls. The petroglyphs, or carvings on the rocks, show a faint piece of history.
It's not just a time period of 20 years or something. It's, I mean, like 3,000 years of dedicated history here that people kept coming back to and re-recording whatever it was they recorded.
An archaeologist from Wyoming, a paleontologist from Pennsylvania, and members of the Montana Archaeological Society have recorded parts of the site. But no one has been able to photograph and document the site in its entirety. The total number of pictographs and petroglyphs in the canyon is unknown.
Almost every time I come over here, I spot something that I don't remember actually having verified before. There's just hundreds and hundreds of etchings and petroglyphs and pictographs.
The creators of the work are also unknown. Dozens of tribes could have contributed to this amazing display of history. Unfortunately, there are some unwanted contributions to the collection.
The graffiti that's there, there's not a lot you can do about it. I guess it has its place in history too, but from this point on, I'm hoping that there will be no more graffiti on the rock. And this one is one I said has all the arrows. There's one, two.
This is why Macy is trying to preserve and share the existing work. She has big plans. She wants to build a small bridge across the stream for easier access, create a walking trail to the base of the cliff walls. Eventually, she'd like to build a visitor center. The land belongs to Macy's family, but they feel the history belongs to everyone.
And unless you preserve something like this, or have pictures of it or something, how is anyone going to believe that it was ever there?
In her struggle to conserve these artifacts, Macy is always looking for some help. If you can lend yours, contact her at her website at beargulch.net. Well, that's our show. We'd like to thank Doug Olson of General Services and the Governor's Office for allowing us into the building during these frantic last months of restoration. With their help, the project will be completed well in advance of the building's centennial in 2002. Maybe we'll see you then. If you'd like to see an earlier episode of the Backroads of Montana, they're available at your city-county library. If you have a story you'd like us to follow, contact us at the Backroads of Montana, the University of Montana, Missoula, Montana, 59812. As long as you keep watching, we'll keep covering the Backroads of Montana. I'm William Marcus. See you next time.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, Travel Montana, and the University of Montana, where the discovery continues.
Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home. Coming in off the road now, boys, you know I'm heading home.